so much that I want to talk about FIFA 18, my experience at Gamescom. Like, I'm hoping I can bring you guys a really good, like, long vlog video, because I covered all of my experience there at Gamescom, you know, with chilling with Zway and Nep and all the guys and all of that stuff. And I recorded some cool stuff as well, you know, with flying and all that good stuff. So I'm hoping I can put that into like a really cool video for you dudes. But like, I don't have like a concise review of FIFA 18 for you guys, and I know that a few people wanted to see something like that. So first of all, major thumbs up and love and thanks to EA for inviting me and allowing me into like the EA lounge, the business lounge, where content creators and only like business members and stuff were allowed at Gamescom for the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Much love to all of those guys that were involved. There's a lot of dudes that work at EA high up and everywhere in between that I got a chance to meet during the Gamescom event. And I'm so happy to say that those guys, meeting them face to face, like, we all have our differences. Some guys at EA, I'm sure, still don't like me and stuff like that. But just getting a chance to meet the guys that put the game together, that run the marketing side of the game, or the community side of the game, or the development side of the game, seeing those guys face to face was so big and so important, I think, for me, specifically because I got to put a face to what you guys and myself all see on Twitter. You know, you get to see the guys behind the entire operation, and I will happily be able to announce, at least from my experiences, that the guys working at EA, and one of the things I always feel bad about when I got mad at the game back in the day, back in FIFA 14 and FIFA 15, I would always take the piss out of the developers and stuff like that. And one thing that I found from this event is those are the guys that are all like us. You know, yes, EA may have some things that they do that are questionable on the business side of things, but that has nothing to do with the development team, honestly. And if you guys could see what I saw, you'd see all of the members that work at EA, that are in development, in global, in all of that stuff. They love the game as much as we do, and at the end of the day, it's they want to see the game succeed and improve just as much as we do. And that's one thing that I took away from my like conversations from a lot of the guys at EA at Gamescom, is that they want what's best for the game as much as we do. And I know that a lot of the times we see some things that they choose, some things that they do, you know, FIFA points being too expensive to a lot of us, you know, packs not giving out and all that stuff. Like, all of them see and feel the same type of stuff that we do, you know, and a lot of those types of things happen at levels that are above them, at the business level and all of that stuff, right? And I think that's one thing I want to do going forward, is be, in my criticisms of EA, be more cognizant of who I'm being critical of. Because I think a lot of times, and it took me to meet all these guys and interact with them and have discussions with them, whether you know, the community managers, Kyle and Devang and all these guys that I got a chance to meet, or like the other end of the dudes, the other end of the spectrum, global marketing guys and stuff like that. I think one thing I've found is that they all want to see the best out of the game. And one thing I did find as well that does not get, and this is still a complaint I have, has nothing to do with any of the developers at EA or anything like that for FIFA Ultimate Team, but one thing that is my biggest complaint, and I think is the entire community's complaint, is that they're not transparent with us, and they just don't give us enough information through their official channels, through EA Sports FIFA, the Twitter account that all of us follow, because a lot of you guys don't follow the community managers or the developers or the devs, the producers at EA, and those are the guys that push out information via Twitter. But that same info is sometimes, but very often isn't, relayed via the official EA big Twitter. And as far as I can tell, that is something that they're working on. So one of the things that I have always been kind of upset with is EA's lack of transparency and lack of information and lack of explanation to us, the consumers and the users. I mix the words together. That's something I've always hated, right? That we all are just left in the dark. They started out this year, FIFA 17, trying to be more transparent with updates. They would put patch notes directly into FIFA 17's main hub. That slowly died off to the point where now we're back to them releasing updates and them not telling us anything. But the one thing I wanted to say, long story short, is that I've heard from the developers and from the guys that were there and stuff like that, you know, that they want to be more transparent and more communicative, I don't know if that's a word, with the overall community, which is absolutely fantastic and absolutely good news, I think, for all of us. So that's definitely something to look forward to for FIFA 18. That's one of my main thoughts, or happy thoughts at least, with my experiences so far with FIFA 18 and the guys that run it and stuff like that, is that they really do want the community as a whole to be happy. So that's definitely fantastic for sure. The other side of it as well that I was really excited about is that I think FIFA 18, and only time will tell, but based off of the gameplay from what I've experienced, I think FIFA 18 is a game and is a series in FIFA. So the 18 will be this 18, whatever, you know, this series, this iteration of FIFA. I really think they're concentrating on gameplay, and from what I can tell, and all the other YouTubers can tell, and streamers that were at this event, that they really are concentrating on improving gameplay. And yes, I'm sure what we played in Germany won't be the final product, and I'm sure it won't be, because there were some stuff and things that even we discovered out there that they're working on fixing and stuff like that. But they are concentrating on gameplay, and that's a very important thing for them, and something that I'm very excited about. And there's a lot of little additions to the game that I think are very good. Now, unfortunately, the stuff that I can talk about gameplay wise is good. I'll give you guys an example. There's certain instances now in the game where you can be able to shut down overpowered situations that have never been there. Situations where we'll bitch and moan about because we don't actually have any wow, that food delivery. Ooh, nice salad. Thanks. So happy to be back to just get food delivered to me as well. Salad or not? Steph's trying to make a point that my dad guts back. Anyways, what was I saying? God, I got completely sidetracked. What were we talking about? What the heck were we just talking about? Steph delivering this delicious food, and I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, Forbesy, thank you for the 31. Joe, thank you for the 6. The Tree, thank you for the 2. Cream Puff, thank you for the year. Alpha, thank you for the tier 2 4-month sub. Appreciate you. 2 Kin in England, thank you for the brand new sub. Alex, thank you for the 14 months. Appreciate you guys. Oh yeah, gameplay, shutting down like broken mechanics. That was really cool to see. Is that, again, something that we've all complained about. There's so many different instances in FIFA 17 where certain gameplay things, or the way people play, or how they decide to shoot, or how they decide to defend, there's certain things in the game that are so overpowered, and you, as someone that's trying to deal with these very overpowered things, there's at least in FIFA 17, there was never really any ways to counteract that. Now there is. I can guarantee you that now there, and I mean, we experienced it, we all experienced it. There's so many different things, and I'm sorry to be cryptic. You know, there's a lot of info that EA have released and haven't released and stuff like that, and I don't want to release any news that isn't already in the public sphere or hasn't been covered in other YouTubers' videos and stuff like that. But I do want to just let you guys know that there is some awesome stuff coming that allows you to counteract certain things. Whether, let's say, it's things where you think you're left in the dark and unable to defend against near post corners, or there's, you know, certain shot types in the game that you just think, what the hell, like the keeper should do better, or defensive tactics and stuff like that, and you get so frustrated because you can't do anything, and you think certain things defensively or offensively are too overpowered. There's counteractions to everything now, which is so awesome, dudes, and will really start separating the really good FIFA players to the average FIFA players, I think. Another one that you guys all know and it's been talked about endlessly, and even I talked about in my live streams and stuff like that when I was in Germany, because we did quite a few live, real life live streams in Germany. But defensively, dude, I am very happy and kind of scared, and I've talked about this, but I want to like delve in more detail. One of the biggest updates, and again, people have talked about it ad infinitum, but is the defending changes to FIFA 18. No longer do, from what we've seen, does the AI just run the defense, where you can literally just sit there with your midfielders and let the AI just do everything. They do not do that. You can now easily run through your opponent if they're that type of player, that just sits there and allows the AI to do all of the work. That does not function at all anymore. Secondly, if you are the type of person that, even though FIFA 17 was built around holding your CDM or your midfielders and defending with them and allowing the defense to do its own thing, if you were someone that didn't subscribe to that mentality to do better in FUT Champs, and you were someone like Zwei who just refused to ever learn that and still defended with your center backs and were getting beat and conceding 7,000 goals every FUT Champs game like Zwei was, well, honestly, I think FIFA 18 is going to be a good year for someone like Zweback. I don't know if Zwei is particularly a great defender as it is, but at least he's already used to manually defending. Even though it was a detriment to his success in FIFA 17, now you need to control your defenders, otherwise you will get destroyed. And that is an awesome but very, very scary thing. And obviously awesome is you now are in control. And if you're attacking someone, they need to know how to defend. So that's amazing that you won't come up against anymore these script nerds, these meta nerds that just figure out the super stupid overpowered things and are not great in the game, but they just know, I'll sit back defensively and let this moron try and break down my ultimate AI defenders, and then I'll hit him on a lucky counterattack and see if I can score a breakaway cross-body shot or something stupid like that. We all have experienced that in FUT Champs. We all have. And in fact, I've won some games against some god-level players in FUT Champs by doing that. Now, it's really going to separate the good players from the average players because you cannot do that anymore. You need to defend. And little things where if you overcommit defensively, you get burned. You get absolutely burned now. So it's like a double whammy, whereas before the defense would do everything for you. Now the defense doesn't do everything for you, but then also add on to that where in FIFA 17, if you overcommitted, one of my biggest complaints in FIFA 17 is where your opponent clearly goes in for a tackle. You beat that opponent, that defender that goes in for a tackle and misses recovers way too quickly, beyond even logic, where they just spin around and come back and tackle you again. That does not happen as far as what I've experienced in FIFA 18 so far at Gamescom. That does not happen. If you go in for a tackle, like your player and your player gets beat, that player is out of the game. That player is out of the game. And you better be able to quickly pick someone else to try and get in a block. And against really, really good attackers, and if you're not a great defender, you will start getting destroyed in FIFA. And that's a good thing, but one thing I did notice and started experiencing, because I play FIFA all day on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I tried to be there as much as possible. You know, one day I think we played like 10 games and stuff like that, maybe 11 or 12 games of FIFA. And what you start noticing is, yes, manual defending is absolutely incredible for the first 5 or 10 games, 5 games. But you play these high pressure games where you need, like, against, I'm playing people like FIFA Raleigh and like all these really, really good FIFA players. And sure, I can manually defend against them and do well when my mind is all there. But 5, 6, 7 games later, when you're just kind of tired and like you're not really paying attention anymore, that's when I started getting destroyed. Like 1 second of not paying attention at all and you get beat and someone scores on you. And start of the day, I was beating people 2-3-0, 4-1, 5-2, 5-1, stuff like that. The end of the day, I was losing and or beating people 7-6, losing 6-4, winning 6-5. Like, holy God, dude, when you lose your concentration, the amount of goals that start getting scored is pretty insane. And that's one thing that I wonder if EA will fix, because I think it's the right way to play FIFA, where your success is dependent on your attacking and defending. I just think the community is gonna bitch and moan the shit FIFA players, the players that are bang average, that over the last couple of years in FIFA have kind of had their hand held in competitive online play with all this stupid crap that EA put in the game. FIFA 17, the AI doing everything, FIFA 16, whatever, the broken lobs, whatever you want to call it. FIFA 18 is so balanced and is so dependent on your skill set that I honestly genuinely think the shit kids are going to bitch and moan endlessly, to the point where I'm slightly scared that I think a month in we're going to get a patch for the game that kind of brings it back to that FIFA 17 style, where defending is a lot more AI driven and stuff like that. And you know, I'm worried. I don't want EA to fold to the pressure of like the overall community. I would love for them to stick to this style of FIFA 18 or new FIFA, where again you are punished for doing poorly, and you do not need to repeat what Mubot does and stuff like that in the chat, dude. But thank you. Lammy Joe, thank you for the brand new sub to the channel. Appreciate that. Marco Croatia, Sneaky, Z Get Good. Thank you guys. Appreciate all the subs as well. So yeah, I just like, that's kind of like my love and then worry for FIFA 18 is how they've gone the route of separating and putting a skill gap in the game. I love it. I'm just worried the community in general is gonna cry about it quite a bit, which will be unfortunate if EA folds to that pressure. Kivos and Adibio, thank you as well for the subs. I appreciate that, dudes. So obviously defensively that was cool. Shots are weird. FIFA 18 shooting is definitely a little different, I would say, for sure. There's a lot of different things you can do. Certain things in the game are more overpowered than not. Low drippings and stuff, that type of stuff is still very effective. But like I said, with anything that you do, EA have now put in something where you can counteract and counterbalance it, which is very nice. And I don't want to get into too many details because I don't know what EA is going to change for the final build of FIFA 18 and whatnot. But just know that there's a lot of stuff in there, even stuff that I didn't discover, that's really, really good. Another thing that is really cool is because of the way defending is, skill moves are more viable. They're also cleaner. So skill moves are actually, you can perform much cleaner. You don't do skill moves and then your player just slows down to 0 pace and stuff like that and doesn't really do anything, doesn't really move. Skill moves are a lot more fluid. So that's very nice to see. I think that'll bring a new dimension into FIFA for sure. But then again, so I played like FIFA Raleigh, I would consider one of the best skillers in the game in terms of their understanding of the game and when to do good skill moves and stuff like that. And as much as he was good at skilling me and stuff like that, there's also a balance. So he couldn't just sit there and skill, and my players just all fall apart and then he goes and scores. No, if you do too many skills, it starts becoming very readable defensively. And you can, like, what I loved about FIFA 18 and the manual defending is you can almost bait a skiller into kind of going how you want them to. So you'll show too much of one side to the point where Raleigh would do like a Burba spin or some sort of skill inside, and I would like move quickly into that side and block it and cut it off. So that was really, really sweet. Very, very sweet that there's skilling being a viable option, but then if you're decent and you understand how a player moves, how they skill, how they do this, how they do that, you can then counteract it. So like I said, a balance in the game is absolutely such a nice thing to see for FIFA 18. So we covered shooting, we covered skilling, long shots. I scored a couple of insane bangers. So I was very, very happy about that. And with the better players, you notice their long shots to be quite a bit better. Early days, but so far, that's a nice improvement. It's not like I could shoot with any old player and score easily from distance. It really only started being effective with proper long shot takers, so I like that. The one thing that I noticed, and again, it's probably something that EA is going to patch and fix and sort out and stuff like that, but one thing I definitely noticed is it didn't seem to matter at all what type of player I was using, whether it was a low-end bronze or silver player or a high-end player. Their first touches, for the most part, seem to be just as perfect or just as garbage throughout the progress of a game. So, like, the players all seem to do very, very well for the first 30-40 minutes of the game. Then once you got into halftime and after halftime into the 40th, 50th, 60th minute, because of the stamina drop, whatever that is, whether it was high or low, but the stamina drop caused then players to just be absolutely idiotic with their touches and their passes, for sure. So that was interesting, is that like players felt very similar in terms of how they touched and moved the ball from bronzes to gold, and I hope that EA fixes that, because that's a little bit disappointing where it's hard to tell what player you're using. Am I using a Modric on the ball, or am I using, am I using John Joe Shelby on the ball? Am I using, you know what I mean? Like, wasn't much of a difference in feel between players. So that's obviously something I wanted to mention as well, and I'm sure they'll fix that. Goalkeeping felt good. It's early doors, but from what I saw, goalkeeping was good. It was well balanced, and again, I mentioned that there's certain things where you can turn the tides in your favor, even with goalkeeping and live play, which I like, because it gives you a new dimension to counteract and counterbalance what your opponent is trying to do against you. So that was cool. But yeah, goalkeepers seem good. They didn't make any real idiotic mistakes. The propensity to score when you're in on net was higher than when you're away from net, farther away from net. So that was nice to see. Goalkeepers didn't seem as god level one-on-one as FIFA 17. I think that was a big annoyance. Like, when you send a player in on net, you should be rewarded for the most part. Sure, if a goalkeeper makes a save here and there, that's fine. But I found that I scored with quite a bit more frequency in on net. But one thing you will find is weak feet were a huge deal. So, like, oftentimes, you know, shit kids like Tobias playing FIFA would, due to my own defensive mistakes, he'd find himself running in on net, but like he just doesn't know the stats of certain players he's using, whether they have a terrible weak foot or not, and like would take a shot with a player's weak foot. I'm trying to think off the top of my head a player that doesn't have a great weak foot. Let's say like Giroud, you know, just doesn't think he's in on net, he's got a clear open shot shooting with the right foot, and he shoots a crossbody with a right foot and it goes wide. So stuff like that is nice to see, where it's just not like bang on goals every single time. At least weak foot stats seemed to mean something, which was very, very nice. I liked seeing that. It's not just like, oh god, he's in on net, now he's gonna score with this player. It doesn't matter what foot he shoots with, what shot style he shoots with, and all of that stuff. So I did enjoy seeing that, where you get credited again for knowing your players, knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses. So that's very, very nice. We all know, and we've all seen, obviously, before I even went to Gamescom, but a few things that we wanted added to the game in terms of giving us more have been added. So I'll talk about that in a second. Like in-game stats now, you don't have to go into the game. It's as a second tab on Ultimate Team. We asked for that and what I wanted to see in FIFA 18 on Matt's podcast and stuff like that. That's one of the main things I said that I would love to see. We talked about that a lot on streams throughout the year as well. But in terms of the gameplay, let me just cover the rest of the gameplay. Let's just see if I've missed anything. Pens, I only took a few, and I would say pens I think can change a lot from now till the start of the game. I didn't really feel like they were that great or that bad, really, in comparison to 17. They're all right. Nothing really to talk about. Oh, fouls were interesting. Fouls were very, very interesting. That's definitely something to talk about. With manual defending, I noticed that a lot more fouls were given, but I also noticed a hell of a lot more fouls were missed. And I don't know if that's like they put it into the game where there's that bit of error, but there were blatant points of time where like Tobias, like I you know, passed around him, did a few good things, and got the ball away, passed it away, and he would clatter me in the box, take me out, and I was just like, what the hell? And even he would be like, and oh my god, and no pen was given. So the pen calls and stuff like that are a little bit wonky, but again, could be something that they could fix pretty easily. Fouls were okay outside of the box, like pretty well balanced. The ref wasn't like giving away fouls for everything and wasn't not calling anything. So I think outside of the box, the foul system and stuff like that were good. I didn't notice red cards or yellow cards or anything like that to any big extreme. Definitely not. Free kicks were okay. Dude, free kicks. You use a good free kick taker and do what I was using with Ibra in FIFA 17. I would say free kicks feel like FIFA 17 free kicks. Like if you know how to do free kicks, they're pretty good, and then randomly they're not good. I don't know if that's a great way to explain it, but that's kind of the only type of explanation I have in terms of free kicks. Red cards, yellow cards, I didn't really notice too many or too little. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. Injuries didn't seem to be that big of a deal either. Again, something that can definitely be patched and touched up. So that's, you know, something to think about and just, I would say, keep an open eye for. I think that could change as the game's released. Any extreme OP game mechanics that are breaking or not. I mean, the one thing that I noticed that two things that I noticed that I think EA will fix is first of all, if you're someone that is a counter-attacking player and you know how to spam lob through balls, that's a problem again. And that's even more of a problem now because of manual defending. Like, people that know how to send a lob ball and you really don't know how to do anything. You literally just hold LBY or whatever and you're in on net. So lob balls are a bit too overpowered, I think, for sure. Thank you for all the subs, by the way. I'll catch you guys in a second here. I just don't want to lose my train of thought. Thank you, though. I really, really do appreciate it. And then another thing that was outrageous is I tried to, and I didn't really notice it too much online, a few times Tobias scored some idiotic goals against me that I was just like, dude, what the hell? But I noticed this more offline. The squad challenges, like the offline squad challenges, like I played Castro's squad, and I played it on Ultimate. I wanted to see how it was on Ultimate, and I managed to beat it, but holy God, was it hard. And was it hard for multiple reasons, because if you shut down the AI, what I've noticed is the AI just literally chooses to go for crosses, and crosses from the most nonsensical. I'm talking crosses from like the far post corner with the back to the net, spin firing crosses and stuff like that make no sense, right onto your opponent's head, and they head it in the net. Like, I conceded cross headers using like big tall center backs and losing headers to like players like Marco Asensio, losing headers to players like Leo Messi and stuff like that. Leo Messi's, you know, talented in that regard, so that's maybe not the best example, but like that was something that seemed quite overpowered, was crossing. So I don't know if that's something that will be patched. It's something that will be more balanced out maybe, but I did notice that like manually defending, even if you put your player in the right position to head away a ball as a center back, for some reason or other, it's like the ball magnetically goes to the offensive player first. So I'm not excited about that, but like I said, I'm hoping that is something they look at fixing. And in terms of the gameplay and the flow of the game, it's very nice. Ultimate Team is way quicker, way higher paced than regular seasons. Obviously, everyone can know everyone and anyone will know that. But one thing I did find is the pacey players, especially acceleration versus non-pacey players, is huge and hugely important. I don't know if overall sprint speed is really all that important, because once you get away from the player, then you're fine, you're good to go. But acceleration is huge. It really is. Like, where you're a good skiller and someone's manually defending you, if they dive in and you just, even if you just LTRT past them, LTRT is not as overpowered, by the way, which makes me a little upset. Shielding and LTRT are not as overpowered as they were in FIFA 17, which is a good thing, but obviously something that I learned to use a lot while playing FUT Champ. So I'm gonna have to like adjust my style of play for FIFA 18, because that isn't powerful. Nevertheless, though, you can still do it. I was beating players like FIFA Raleigh and other players that are very, very good like that. When they go into tackles, just LTRTing, moving and baiting one side and then going another, because that way they'll dive in. Manual defending, the beautiful thing is you can, it's like this chess battle, if you will, where you're trying to outthink your opponent and trying to do that all game, right? So like faking and giving your opponent a thought of you're going one side and then going the other side and then maybe re-switching, so you do the double fake and stuff like that. That is really cool. I like that a lot. And being able to do that and then accelerate away with a really, really good fast player is very overpowered. So acceleration is huge. That's really what I wanted to get at. Sprint dribbling is not that crazy. It can be a little scary. There was one goal I remember very vividly conceding, funny enough. I think it was against Mav Wolves. I think it was against Wolfie, though. Him and I played a bunch of games against each other. And one goal I conceded, he started sprinting at me with Gareth Bale from like the beginning of his own half. And he like just started gathering momentum. And I was having trouble like selecting a player to try and cover him, and by the time I did, he was already through and like managed to like sprint through my entire team and score as well. So sprint dribbling, I think, might end up being a thing, but maybe it's only a thing for specific players that are just really, really fast and strong and good at finishing. But that was something that stuck in my mind, where he literally just blasted through about 6 of my defenders. Wasn't too excited about that. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate the sub. Welcome to the family. Kickoff boost, I didn't really notice anything like that. I was trying to pay attention to stuff like that. I didn't really notice. Wow. Mary, thank you for the sub as well. Appreciate you. So kickoff boost, I didn't notice, but 45th and 90th minute goals were plentiful. They were. Ironically, though, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, though. I genuinely can't believe I'm going to say this. 45th and 90th minute, though, I really didn't notice that my team was falling apart in those instances. And maybe that's because I'm controlling my team more. FIFA 17, it's very AI dependent. So when you're so used to your AI being so strong and good, and then they fall asleep and turn into fucking morons in the 45th and 90th minute, that's something you notice very much. But in FIFA 18, because the defending is so much more manual, if I concede goals, it's pretty much always my fault. So whether I concede in the 40th, the 90th, the 70th minute, I was never like upset by conceding. So I know that might not be a great explanation, but it's really the only way I know how to explain it, is that, yeah, I was conceding in the 45th and 90th minute, but it never seemed like it was the gameplay mechanics that were allowing it, or my players just falling asleep, because I was the one running and controlling and dealing with whatever my opponents threw at me. So that's good news, I think, for sure. Absolutely. Whether or not the 45th and 90th minute cheese and stuff like that we start noticing more and more as FUT Champs and all that stuff comes out, sure, right? You gotta have a little bit of skepticism to think that stuff like that will come through. Every FIFA game's gonna have something like that, right? I think it'll be up to EA to like recognize that there's certain things that are overpowered, and then giving us at least some sort of a balance towards what is overpowered. I think they're gonna be good at doing that for FIFA 18. At least I hope so. Corners didn't seem so crazy. I would say that. I don't think I've really covered corners, but whipping in crosses and stuff like that, they seem to be, other than, you know, losing header battles with short attackers to tall defenders, that was crappy. But there wasn't anything I particularly noticed in corners, like near post, far post, top of the box, stuff like that. There's nothing that I noticed that was super overpowered. Which is interesting. So I enjoyed that. But I'm trying to think in terms of gameplay, because I want to talk about like the FIFA Ultimate Team. Now there's certain things I'm not going to talk about because I'm not allowed to talk about and stuff like that. But of what I am allowed to talk about, like the stuff that I've experienced, it's more the stuff that I haven't experienced, and we don't know if EA, if what we were playing at Gamescom was anywhere near a final build, right? That's one thing I'll say to any YouTuber or streamer you listen to talk about FIFA 18. Even the guys that go to the capture event in what, another week or two, there's going to be a capture event in London. I won't get invited to stuff like that. It's just the way it is. Because they have their guys that they want to send to and stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe in a few years, myself or Nep will start getting invited to these capture events and stuff. It's a building process. I'm just happy I was able to go to Gamescom. I'm happy that EA allowed me into their business lounge and allowed me to experience the game and all that stuff, right? It's a step in the right direction, I would say, which is absolutely fantastic. But what I will say is, if you listen to what I say or anyone else that plays the game, until the full game is released, take anything we say with a grain of salt, right? Because you need to understand that it's not the final polished game at the end of the day. Now, in terms of the in-game hub and all that stuff, I'm disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm disappointed in I don't know how to put this. Other than saying I'm disappointed, but I'm going to stay optimistic until the game is released. I don't know how to put this, what I want to say in a concise, constructive sentence, but without being too harsh to EA. Because like I said, we didn't get the full game. So I might say, oh, I'm not happy because we didn't get this, or doesn't seem like there's this, or doesn't seem like there's improvements in this. For all I know, there could be improvements and stuff like that. There could be improvements in the draft. There could be improvements in seasons. There could be improvements to player positions. You know, we get more positions and stuff like that. There could be improvements to SBCs. There could be changes to this, but that could be something that they're could be something that they're bringing to launch of the game. So what I will say is, I hope I'm not disappointed with EA's lack of innovation for FIFA 18, because FIFA 17 was just so damn good. Now, I will say that, but I will also say that I will also not be upset if we still have next year FUT Champs, SBCs, all that stuff, because those were amazing additions to FIFA 17, to the point where they were so good for my road to glory and anyone else's road to glory where you're not spending money on the game, that I was worried that for FIFA 18, EA would make drastic changes and either make the reward structure worse for FIFA 18 FUT Champs, maybe not even do SBCs anymore, or change the SBC setup, change the way you can do it. And I'm happy at least that it seems like SBCs and stuff are still there, FUT Champs and stuff is still there, and all of that. So that I'm happy about, because I was worried that they were going to take stuff like that away, because I just thought that it was so easy to make so much money on the Poor Man Road to Glory in 17 that I thought maybe they would change something for FIFA 18 to make it a little bit harder, or make you even more willing to spend money on FIFA points. But having said that, so me saying that I'm happy that all that stuff is still there, at the same part, as of right now, I'm a little bit disappointed that that we didn't get more, if that makes sense. So we didn't get anything added on, and what I mean, and like I said, I don't know if this is going to be the case for the launch of the game, but we're just not getting, for guys such as myself that love statistics, and I think anyone that plays FIFA Ultimate Team is in some way, shape, or form an enjoyer of statistics, and I don't know if they're going to do this or not. I didn't really look into it. Obviously, FUT Champs and that type of stuff wasn't available in the games that we played at FIFA 18. But I hope they give us more. I would love to see all the type of stats you see in seasons. I would love to see them put that in FUT Champs. I don't know if that's the case. I have no idea. I didn't see anything like it at all. But in my head, I would love to see just a progression there. Because most of us don't even play seasons anymore, really, right? Or play that regularly. But we all play FUT Champs throughout the year. So I would love to see stats and coverage, clean sheets, all that type of stuff. Goals scored against for, all that stuff pushed into FUT Champs. I would love to see that overall. You could look through every month, and you could look through your overall. I think that would be cool to be able to look as the year progresses, how you started in October or November, December, January, February, to how you're doing in May and June and stuff like that, right? I think that would be very, very cool. So I would love to see that. It wasn't there, but I would love to see something like that. And building on that, I just would love to see more statistics. I talk about this over and over and over again, but they need to give us more than what they've been giving us on player stat card, like on player cards. Why can I see goals and assists for a goalkeeper? Why can I see goals and assists for my center backs? Why can I see goals and assists for my defensive mids? Why can I see yellow and red cards for my attackers? They need to give us more for our attackers and our midfielders. Give us pass percentages, pass completions, all of that type of stuff, you know. And for our defenders, give us tackle completions and man of the match awards and overall man of the matches for every, we just need more statistics. I think they track all of that stuff in the game, and maybe it's really hard to put into a card stat. Maybe that's why we haven't got it, but that's what I would love to see. It getting to that level. Firstly, secondly, I would love to see more. I don't know if this is the case or it isn't the case, but more formations. The stats don't really matter, Nick. No, the stats matter a lot, dude, because I would say you got to try and have more of an open mind. You can't just come at me saying, oh, this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. Like, you got to try and think about it a little bit more. How does that not matter? If I build a team for a weekend league run, at the end of the 40 games, I would like to be able to look at my team and know how many tackles my center back completed over 40 games. Not be able to guess over my memory of 40 games. I'd love to be able to know my midfielders that I bought for my team over 40 games. What was their pass completion? What was their maybe their tackle percentages? Same thing. And all of that stuff. I'd like to be able to, at the end of a weekend, properly be able to analyze the players that I have in my club. How can I analyze how well a defender's played for me or a midfielder's played for me when all I have is goals, assists, and yellow and red cards? How does that help me actually see what players are doing well for me versus what players are not doing well for me? So, if anything, in competitive play and in FIFA FUT Champs, having more statistics and more things to analyze and look at and discuss is so important in my eyes. The pass completion, tackle completion is all down how good you are at the game as long as you don't play full assisted. Yes and no, though. Then, based off of your opinions, why do any of us use informs? Why do any of us use Team of the Years? Why do any of us use gold cards? Why don't we always use silver cards if, according to you, it only matters on your skill set? That's wrong. Like, brother, you're playing the wrong game if that's your mind. You might as well just go play seasons then. You shouldn't really be playing FIFA Ultimate Team. And I don't mean that in a harsh way. I just mean, like, I don't agree with that opinion, because why else are any of us buying informs and one to watches in hopes that they get increased and you know, boosted up stats and man of the matches and stuff like that? Like, those two things don't matter at all. So anyways, I will say is within Ultimate Team, as of right now, it just doesn't seem like they've given us a build on of what we're hoping for. More position change cards, new formations, that type of stuff. I don't, you know, you hope that it's going to be available for FIFA 18, but I think I would be surprised if we got stuff like that. You know, so and that's what I want to see. So another thing that I would love to see, and maybe it's hard to do, but they're going in the right direction. In-game stats is there, right? But they need to give us the next step. Is that going to be something that happens for FIFA 18? Maybe not. Maybe when the Xbox Scorpio is out, and FIFA 19 or FIFA 20 comes along, we'll get the thing that I want. But what I want is for us to get dynamic stat ratings for the overall and in-game. So when your player's on 10 chem, if they get a rating boost, I want to see it in-game. I want to know that when my player's on 10 chem, he has 98 acceleration, 93 sprint speed, and when he's on 6 chem, he'll have 96 sprint speed or acceleration and whatever. I want to see the dynamic movement of stats as you improve and add to your team. So when I toss a hunter card on my striker, I want to not just guess that he goes from 90 pace to 95 pace, or depend on FUTWiz and FUTBin to tell me that. I want to put a hunter card on it and see my card overall maybe stay at 90, go from 90 to stay at 90, but see my card's overall pace go from 90 to 95. See my card shooting go from 90 to 93 or something like that. Like, I want to see those additions, absolutely. And I think it needs to happen, and I think it will happen. I just unfortunately don't think it's going to be something we see for FIFA 18, which is disappointing for me, I think, but something that would be nice to be implemented into the game. New features on the search engine would be sick. Absolutely. Whether or not that's coming, I don't know. I didn't really see anything new in the search engines and stuff like that. One thing I will note that is very, very cool is, you know, and it's little things like this that I give credit to EA's developers and stuff like that, and their producers and all that stuff, because it's a nice addition. You know, one of the most annoying things while doing SBCs in FIFA 17, where let's say you're building an SBC, you're putting stuff in your club, and you discover that you need these 2 players or whatever, right? Now, in FIFA 17, if you want to go get those players, sure, you can hit transfer market, but then you see a plethora of all those players, and it doesn't really help you out. So if you want to go and specify your search, or go to the transfer market to go buy those couple of players that you have as concepts in your SBC, you got to back out of the initial SBC into the overall SBC, then back out of the overall SBC into the SBC hub where all the SBCs are available. Then you got to back out into the single player hub. Then you got to move all the way over to the transfer market. Then you got to go in and click the transfer market. Then you got to jump in the transfer market and do whatever you got to do. Whereas now, the little thing is that there's literally a button that you can press that takes you right to the market. Now, a lot of people think, oh, well, that's, you know, whatever. But that's awesome, because it removes so many extra steps that players like me that run a road to glory are able to now just bypass a lot of time wasted. Which I think is absolutely fantastic. So I like those little additions. In terms of the other stuff from FIFA 18, there's not really much else to cover, right? Like, from what I wanted, more stats, all that stuff we covered. I can't think of anything else that I could give you guys a review on for FIFA 18. I mean, hopefully this was enjoyable for some of you guys to watch, and if you're interested in FIFA 18 and seeing what's coming and stuff, hopefully it was good. But I can't think of anything else. There are a lot of UI improvements, like what you're talking about. It would be nice to see. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I missed or didn't notice, stuff I just can't talk about, that are being added that's going to make a lot of us happy. And, dudes, it's like, what, 2 weeks away until the demo? 3 weeks away until early access? At this point now, it's not that far away. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I mean, obviously, let me know via my Twitch streams in the chat. You can let me know in the comments section on YouTube. You can let me all know on Twitter. If there's any other questions you guys have, I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, we'll end on that. The passing mechanics are better and a little bit confusing, I would say. So passing is very, very nice, but it's very confusing at times to try and get the accurate pass. There's still that issue where I found myself playing other people, making my tiki-taka passing, and I would still find myself saying, oh, weird, I didn't pass it there, and it went there still. So that is definitely a bit of a concern, but I'm hoping something that they patch out a little bit later. And I will end on this. As of right now, my style of play, I'm very, 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 very excited for. 4-2-3-1, possession play was absolutely dominant. I only lost one game. Nep refused to play me. He was too scared to play me in FIFA 18. But everyone else that I played, like, I did very well against, and I was holding possession against pretty much everybody. So I'm excited about that. It's promising for the year ahead that my style of play and what I enjoy works. But then also rest assured, if you're someone that plays counterattacking, it's a viable option as well. So I love you guys. Thank you for watching. We'll end it there. Peace!